deep in the heart of the African savanna, where endless golden grasses stretched toward the horizon and acacia trees stood like green umbrellas beneath the expansive sky, lived a young giraffe named Gilbert. Gilbert, however, was unlike the other giraffes in his herd. Since birth, he had been different. His neck was noticeably shorter than those of his family members and friends. For a giraffe, this was no small difference. Their towering necks gave them access to the sweetest leaves high above, a sign of strength, grace, and status. But for Gilbert, who could only reach the low-hanging branches, every day felt like a reminder that he didn't measure up. He had tried to hide his frustration. When his family stretched their long, elegant necks toward the treetops, he would gaze upward, imagining that someday he too might reach those heights. His mother, Gracelyn, the tallest giraffe in the herd, always noticed his longing glances. She would often bend low to nudge down a handful of the tender leaves for him. "Thank you, Mother," Gilbert would say, his words filled with gratitude but tinged with sadness. "I just wish I could reach them myself." Gracelyn would smile softly, her wise gaze full of affection. "You're special, my love," she'd tell him. "Every giraffe has their own gifts. Yours is yet to be revealed." Despite her encouragement, Gilbert often felt the weight of his difference. The young giraffes played games like highest leaf, where they competed to pluck the tallest leaf from the trees. Gilbert could never join. He knew he'd lose before the game even began. Gustav, the proudest and tallest giraffe of the bunch, was the worst of all. He teased Gilbert mercilessly. "A giraffe who can't reach the treetops?" Gustav would ask loud enough for the others to hear. "What good is that?" His words stung, and though the others didn't taunt Gilbert, their pitiful glances hurt almost as much. One particularly difficult day, after enduring another round of teasing, Gilbert wandered away from the herd. He found himself at a watering hole, its clear surface reflecting the sky above like a mirror. As he gazed at his reflection, focusing on his short neck and the unique pattern of spots across his hide, he sighed heavily. "Why must I be so different?" he whispered. His words felt heavy, as though the weight of his frustration and loneliness were pressing down on him. "Why indeed?" a deep rumbling voice replied. Startled, Gilbert looked up to find an old elephant standing nearby. Her wrinkled gray skin gleamed faintly in the sunlight, and her tusks, chipped from years in the wild, gave her an air of experience. Her eyes, dark and wise, seemed to peer straight through Gilbert's surface into his heart. "Who are you?" Gilbert asked. "Name's Eliza," replied the elephant, a touch of humor in her tone. "And I've been watching you, young one. You carry your neck like it's a burden, but I see that it might be the opposite." Gilbert frowned. How could it be anything but a burden? "I can't reach the leaves, I can't play the games, I'm not a proper giraffe." Eliza chuckled, the sound like distant thunder. And who exactly decided what makes a proper giraffe? Was it Gustav with his oversized neck and undersized wisdom? She shook her head. "Look around you. No two creatures in this savanna are identical, not in shape, not in strength, not in purpose." Gilbert hesitated. "But what's the purpose of a giraffe who can't do what giraffes are supposed to do?" "Ah," Eliza said knowingly, "perhaps you weren't meant to follow their rules. Perhaps you were made different because you're meant for something different." Before Gilbert could ask more, a low rumble rolled across the savanna. Dark clouds were gathering on the horizon. The rainy season was near. "You'd better return to your herd," Eliza advised. "But remember this, young giraffe, the savanna finds room for every kind of gift. The trick is learning to see yours." Her words followed Gilbert like an echo as he trudged back to the herd. Could my short neck really be good for something? Gilbert wondered. He wasn't sure, but for the first time the question lingered in his mind. In the weeks that followed, Gilbert began to view the savanna with fresh eyes. While the herd focused on treetops, Gilbert's lower vantage point revealed what lay closer to the ground. He saw the dung beetles rolling their treasured spheres across the dirt. He watched ant colonies building intricate tunnels in the earth. He noticed subtle shifts in the grass, movements so small that the towering giraffes could never see them. And one day, those observations became critical. While the herd grazed peacefully, Gilbert noticed a ripple through the grass, a deliberate, slow movement. His heart sank as he spotted the flick of a tawny tail. Lions were approaching, stalking the young giraffes who had wandered away from the protective watch of the adults. "Lions!" Gilbert shouted, his voice ringing out across the savannah. "Coming from the east! The little ones are in danger!" The herd sprang into action. Though the adults couldn't see the lions yet, they trusted Gilbert's warning and quickly gathered the young giraffes. Moments later, the lions broke their cover, only to find their prey out of reach. They snarled in frustration before slinking away. Gracelyn looked down at her son, her voice trembling with pride. "You saved us, Gilbert. None of us spotted the danger, but you did." Word of Gilbert's quick thinking spread, and he was soon recognized as the herd's finest sentinel. His short neck allowed him to notice dangers on the ground, protecting the family from threats they'd once been blind to. Even Gustave began to regard him with respect, admitting one day, "I guess there's more to being a giraffe than reaching the treetops." Gilbert's talents went beyond his vigilance. His lower stature brought him closer to other species, building friendships his herd had never imagined. He traded information with meerkats, shared water sources with warthogs, and learned migration patterns from zebras. When a zebra foal became trapped in muddy terrain one day, Gilbert didn't hesitate. While the adult giraffes kept their distance, unwilling to risk the dangerous ground, Gilbert remembered the lessons he'd learned watching elephants navigate the savannah. His shorter legs and neck gave him steady footing, allowing him to carefully guide the foal to safety. By the end of the dry season, Gilbert had earned the trust and admiration of animals across the savannah. His herd, once quietly dismissive of his difference, now saw him as their greatest asset. Many seasons passed, and Gilbert grew into a confident, respected giraffe. His neck remained short, but he carried himself tall, knowing his unique perspective was an irreplaceable gift. And one evening, under the same watering hole's reflection, Gilbert found Eliza waiting. "You found your place," she said with satisfaction. Gilbert nodded, "and I wouldn't change a thing." Smiling, Eliza gestured to the stars above. "You see them? Each one is different, yet none shine alone. That's how a savanna works, too. It's only extraordinary when everyone brings their own light." Gilbert gazed at the shimmering sky, feeling its reflection deep in his soul. The world was vast, diverse, and beautiful, and so was he.